What's good, YouTube podcast family? You already know the name, Pays and Plays Podcast. I'm going to be giving you three of my best over/under season win totals for this year. So, if some people don't understand, because I know it's new to some people still, over/under in season totals is pretty self-explanatory, man. It'll be a number set at 9.5. Do you think this team gets over 9.5, which means 10 games, or do you think they get under, which may be 9 or 8 or whatever like that is, right? I had to sometimes explain that for some people because some people don't understand that because that point five sometimes to some people they don't know if they don't know. So I might as well tell y'all real quick. But let's get into I got three of them. Let's get into the first under though. I have the Chicago Bears. Now I placed this at 9.5. I currently see it at 8.5. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I would still play it under it even at 8.5, even though I got at 9.5. This is my reason behind it. Yes, Caleb Williams looked good against third and fourth stringers. I want to see how he looks against day week in and week out when it's first stringers every week, right? You know, the offensive line is I wasn't really all that impressed because some of them plays when he was running and scrambling like crazy is because the offensive line couldn't block nobody for real. So that's another thing that I look at. You know, the defense, everyone talks about Montez Sweat. I like Montez Sweat. I think he's a good pass rusher, one of the most underrated pass rushers in the league. However, that's your only pass rusher you have. I mean, I don't see anybody else on that roster. The secondary is okay. Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson. They didn't have the corner on the other side though. Terrain Edmonds is he's a good linebacker for the Bears, but then that's your only linebacker you have for the Bears, right? You see, so like you got one out of three levels of the defense, right? So I give you that, but you need more talent around them. And I looked at the schedule. Okay, so my thoughts is I think they get swept by the Lions and the Packers. I believe they split with the Vikings, right? Even with the JJ McCarthy injury, I think they may split with the Vikings. But it was some other games I was looking at, like Houston. I don't think they can beat Houston. Uh, the Colts at Indianapolis, I don't know about that one. I don't. I was looking at some Seattle. I don't think they beat Seattle. It was a ton of games like that, where I'm like, if you go, if you go like 2-4 in the division, that's already a bad sign. I see this team more of a, I hate to say this, more of as a 6 to 7 win team. And the reason why I took the 9.5, because I don't think the Bears can win 10 games. That's why I went with the under 9.5. I got it in some book, but the juice was kind of high on it, so I had to spend a little decent penny for that one. Second game, let's go to an over. We got the LA Chargers. I'm going over. Yes, and with Jim Harbaugh coming in as coach, gonna change this whole culture, bro. None of this soft shit. You know, this soft. Like the defense was soft. The offense wasn't physical. Listen, when you drive Joe Alt and you also got Slater on the other tackle, that tells me you're going to run the football. And I know even with Justin Herbert injury, it is a concern throughout the whole season. However, though, if this is the plan is to run the ball and play defense, we've seen what Harbaugh did with Stanford, with the Niners, with Michigan, how he comes in and changed that whole culture around to a winning culture. I got it at 8.5. I at least see 9-8, possibly a playoff team. That's just my thoughts on this team. You do play the AFC North, so that is going to be a little difficult. But outside of that, I mean, they should be Arizona, right? It's a tons of teams where I was looking like the Panthers. Like it's little teams like that because they were the third team last year in the division. Your schedule is usually a little more softer, so that's kind of why I'm leaning towards the over with the Chargers because the schedule is a little bit cupcake other than the AFC North. But the AFC North is the best division of football. I will say that again. And lastly, quick one though, Seattle Seahawks. I got the Seahawks at over 7.5 with McDonald coming in, everyone's saying he's the McVay of defense. I hope so. because this defense was very bad last year. As much as I respect and love Pete Carroll, it just was not good, right? You couldn't stop the run, and that's really what the thing was, bro. They could not stop a soul when it came to the run game. The pass defense was solid, but now that you got somebody as a McDonald who specializes in stopping the run, and of course the pass defense, we know the offense. Listen, it's really up to who's ever at quarterback. If it's Geno Smith, if they say, hey, look, don't mess the game up. Listen, you got two running backs. You got an offensive line that's actually productive. You got three, four receivers. Come on. And I think they still have Noah Fant, if I'm not mistaken. So you have a whole camaraderie as far as offense. It's really the defense that was the problem. And when you are a defensive guy as McDonald and the way he's been coached under both hardballs, you have a ton of knowledge, bro. And I believe that the Seahawks, I think they can make the playoffs. I mean, they've been 9-8 the last 3 years in a row. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it 9-8 a fourth year in a row. I know the division is kind of tough, right? Because everybody beats up on everybody. But what hurt them last year to not be in the playoffs, they got swept by the Rams. If they would have split that game with the Rams, I think things would have been a little more differently for them. But all is well on that one. And I'll review it real quick. Chicago Bears under 9.5. The San Diego Chargers, LA Chargers 8.5 over total wins, and I got the Seattle Seahawks at over 7.5 wins. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, man. We will probably post week 1 NFL bets probably, I want to say around Labor Day, maybe Labor Day. I'll do the full slate. And then, I'll do back to the upset alerts, and I'll probably do my best bets later on that week. I hope all is well, guys, and let's get this money.